I'm Paul Sundberg. I'm the Executive Director of the Swine Health Information Center. This is the SHIC Breakout session, following up on the discussion yesterday with the African swine fever virus and that introduction. We thought it would be a good idea to focus the SHIC Breakout as a follow-up to that with a discussion about feed safety and feed mitigation and the things that are happening around feed. So we're going to have a very full agenda. We will be talking about ASF and we're going to be talking about feed safety, but we also want to keep this into context of foreign animal disease and the foreign animal disease risks, potential risks from introduction via the feed. So it's going to be broader than just ASF. ASF is certainly a foreign animal disease, but we're going to keep in mind we're going to be talking about FMD, we're going to be talking about PED as well, and some of the things that we've learned about the feed research. You've got the agenda here, and we'll be working right through that. One of the things that I want to make sure that we have the opportunity at the end of the session for open discussion. So I'm going to ask that you hold your questions, write them down so you don't forget them, but hold your questions until the end, because we've got a lot of information to talk about, to provide, but we want to really have an opportunity to have a very open discussion. And we'll have microphones and we'll be asking questions and making comments as well, because this is an opportunity to get together as industry leaders, as a group of stakeholders, and talk about feed risks and how to go forward. So we're looking forward to that discussion, and we'll do that with the questions and the discussion at the end. Before we get into the speakers, I wanted to make sure that we could give a perspective about the feed safety research that has happened and that is still in the planning stages. This is more than just research about mitigation options and mitigations. It starts from the beginning with this step one, and you've all seen this, and Scott and Diego will talk about the shipping conditions, Asia, Eastern Europe, etc. We're working directly with ASF, CSF, and pseudorabies in the Biosecure Lab at Kansas State. Feed additives and mitigation fit into this. The Pork Board has funded an ASF infectious dose and mitigation study with Kansas State. And so you know, we also have a project on Plum Island with ARS looking at FMD. So we are going to apply all of these things directly to FMD as well. And the funding for that came from SHIC, from the National Pork Board, and also from USDA. As well, I hope you've seen or are aware of the list of questions that has been put together by the four organizations, SHIC, AASV, Pork Board, and NPPC, to provide to producers and veterinarians so they could start the conversation with their feed supplier. And it's a short list of questions. We had a great collaboration from a lot of people in developing that, and that was very helpful. It's on the SHIC, National Pork Board, AASV, and NPPC website. As we've gone through the process, we've also tried to pay attention to data that can enable us to calculate half-lives for the viruses and viral degradation, and Scott's going to talk about that as we go. The next steps then to carry on with this is looking at a way that we can confidently sample bulk feed products, perhaps through dust. That's something that Kansas State's working on for us. And then looking at a process control that we can verify product safety, perhaps by HARP-C or blockchain or a combination. So we want to make sure that we're covering the bases. And it's not just a mitigation type of research, but we're covering the basis to give us our best chance to be able to prevent FADs from coming into the country. Now, this is the part that through the discussions and things that are going to happen, I anticipate that will happen at the end of the session, I'm going to read the Antitrust Guidelines, simply for everybody to know of how this is going to be conducted and what we can safely do and what we can safely say as we go. So, just reading it, because I need to read it. Under Section 1 of the Sherman Act, 15 U.S.C. Section 1, it's illegal for parties to engage in any activities or discussions which could lead to the fixing of prices, the allocating of markets, or the boycotting of customers or suppliers. Violations can lead to heavy fines and jail terms, as well as civil litigation resulting in the payment of treble damages to anyone injured by such conduct. At pork association or group meetings, it's important that participants not discuss pricing or marketing conditions, which could lead to agreements, actual or inferred, or which give the appearance that agreement between competitors is expected. Mere discussion is not illegal. Illegality arises if agreement or mutual acquiescence follows. Discussion of prices or market conditions in the above context are just as illegal when conducted informally at cocktail parties or other social events, as well as formal meetings. It's strongly recommended there be no discussion of pricing or market conditions at social events. We don't have to worry about that this morning. The best rule is, if you have a question whether a certain matter may be discussed, clear it first with an attorney, or if none is available, just do not discuss it until it's been cleared. The Antitrust Division of the United States Department of Justice can target trade associations to determine whether there is any price fixing or allocation of trade markets taking place, and private litigants can and have bring actions as well. And finally, not part of the Antitrust Guidelines, but so everybody's aware, the communications and the information contained therein are for general information, and that therein is this morning, and what we're going to talk about is research. It's for general information, educational purposes only, are not to be construed as recommending or advocating a specific course of action. That doesn't mean that we can't talk about things that need to be done. That means that you won't hear us say, here's what we recommend. We're going to provide you with the research results and the options, and then we'll have a discussion about those. But you won't hear us be talking about recommendations. Okay? So that's the ground rules.